wrap up on black spots, and then Senator Gallagher has a question. So, can we get an update with the black spot funding?
Did you say black spot
funding, please,
or black spot program?
Black spot funding?
Yeah.
Funding?
Yeah, black spot funding.
Yes. The black spot program in the last financial year spent 100 million of funding.
100 million?
Which was what it was expected to spend.
Okay. Now, and this is
in
not
17-18. So the budget in 2018-19 had a figure of 100 million, and that is what we spent in 17-18.
Okay. Are we still encountering issues of getting money spent and projects completed?
No, Senator, we're not. We are pretty much on track now. You'll recall we had a couple of conversations about the additional funding that was provided to black spots, and that did take some time to work its way through. We now are pretty much caught up, and the funding is fitting the profile. So this year, if you just let me take a minute, there were 231 projects approved for 18-19 for this program year.
231.
231.
And we're on to all them done?
They're not all done. That's for 18-19. So this financial
18-19.
year.
Sorry. Yeah.
We had 222 projects approved in 17-18, and while I can't see in the brief how many of those have been completed yet, but usually the majority are completed in the same year. If you'd like me to take that on notice,
yes,
I'm happy
please.
to.
And if I would, thanks. And that 100 million, is that for 17-18?
I think the fact that all of the funding was expended suggests that the projects were completed, but I will check.
Okay, that's great.
I can actually answer that question. For of the 1,351 projects approved in the 3 years to 2017-18, 1,145 are complete, 119 are underway, and 87 are yet to commence.
How many yet to commence?
Thank you.
87.
87. What's the hold up there, the 87?
So that will include some projects that perhaps have hit are still going through some planning processes, or have hit environmental concerns and things like that. No.
Oh, okay.
No, all the funding is there. There's been no cancellations to any of the projects.
Okay. All right, so as we're all aware, the report from the inquiry into the National Road Safety Strategy 2011 to 2020 called for greater involvement with local governments. Now, this is a little bit of a funny question anyway, but I know we can only get the black spot funding once there's been accidents. Is there any way, or are we talking about getting the funding before the accidents? And those poor devils who are glued to Senate estimates thinking, what drug is he on, talking about that. We know that there's a lot of black spots. You know darn well that there's accidents waiting to happen. That's what I'm trying to say.
So,
have you gone down that path?
So look, I don't think you're deluded, Senator. You're
probably the only one in this parliament.
No, it's a serious question. Why do you wait for a death or an injury before you apply a funding solution?
Senator Gallagher, you don't need to.
And who gets the money who gets it on in advance?
So
give me an example of a jurisdiction that's doing this properly, that is not waiting for a death or an injury to apply a solution in the order of less than $200,000 with the potential to reduce deaths by 30%, injuries by 30%. Give me an example of a jurisdiction that's doing that then, please.
Senator, the program guidelines allow for black spot projects to be funded on the basis of a road safety audit. So there's two ways that you can fund projects in black spot. One is on the basis of a road safety audit. So somebody with a great deal of expertise goes and has a look at a particular section of road and says this is dangerous. We need to.
I understand that equally as well as you. I'm asking for a jurisdiction that's applying that common sense, not waiting for an injury or a death.
All jurisdictions are applying that. Every jurisdiction is applying.
You don't even spend the black spot funding in the year it's allocated.
We are spending the black spot funding. We are. In 17-18, we budgeted 100 million. We spent 100 million.
You might have allocated from your end. Has it been the treatment's been undertaken?
Pardon me?
Are the treatments been undertaken?
Yes, yes, Senator.
In all cases?
The Black Spot program is a very well-respected program. It has had audits that show it's saving lives. We have enough flexibility in the program to allow for preemptive treatment on the basis of a road safety audit,
So perhaps
plus
on
respond
notice.
to deaths on the
I
roads.
find it exhilarating. We finally got someone that knows their stuff in this area. On notice, what I would like to see is how many are using the common sense of the safety audit and how many are using the unfortunate probability of death and injury in the 2017-18 year which you put out. You need to tell me how many people are getting in front of the death and injury.
So just to clarify, you said jurisdictions. Do you mean jurisdictions and councils? I'm not sure we can do a breakdown, but we can try. Are you interested in how things are happening on the ground with
I
councils?
want to get in front of the death and injury and actually treat the intersection while it's a safety audit, not a statistic of death or injury. That's pretty
So
clear.
what we'll give you
We'll do our best
is
to break that down. So
the
we'll break it
breakdown.
down as best we can across all of those jurisdictions.
Excellent.
To see
Progress.
who is anticipating using the audit path.
Thank you.
Right. So can you tell me how much funding is provided by the Infrastructure Investment Division solely for road safety initiatives?
Yes, we can, Senator. We've estimated that around well, I won't say solely, but what I can say is that we estimate about $2.6 billion.
2.6
Billion
billion.
has been allocated to road safety projects. That obviously includes black spots, but it also includes the projects that are actually undertaken that actually have a safety benefit.
And does that money get spent? Sorry?
So that's in the year 2018-19.
Okay, so what about before?
So we've got an estimate of 18.6 billion from 2013-14 to 21-22. So that includes the Black Spot program, the heavy vehicle program. That includes the Bruce Highway, the Pacific Highway, the Midland Highway. Projects which are predominantly about safety.
All right, so what I'd like to do, if you could take this on notice and come back to us, if you could provide us with that time period from 2013, which you mentioned, the actual money that was committed, the actual money spent and what projects they were spent on.
We
If
can
there's
do that.
anything left over, you know, everything we can to see if money is actually being spent, targeted and spent.
Yes, we can do that.
Okay, thank you. So are there any employees in the division whose sole job is focused on researching where funding can best be directed at road safety initiatives? Or is it the states call in? What actually happens? There's a couple of questions there, sorry. Is anyone in the department dedicated wholly and solely to road safety initiatives?
So in regards to the department, we have a number of different areas that work on road safety. We obviously have the surface transport policy area, which I believe are coming later. Most of these two teams focus on road safety in their project assessments. And then also the work of Gary Dolman's team as well, which we spoke about earlier. That gives us an FTE of approximately 117 people in the department who are working on safety issues.
That would include vehicle safety standards.
And that includes vehicle safety standards as well. Yeah.
So that's part of their job.
That's
There's
right.
not actually a group of people, it's just wholly and solely road safety, this is what you do.
No, it's part of their
It's
job.
shared across,
That's
okay,
exactly
all right.
right.
Well, I think you'd be happy to